One of the biggest surprises of the earlier games was an AFC North blowout, and it was probably a team nobody was expecting. The Cleveland Browns absolutely just dog walked the Cincinnati Bengals 41-16. How were the Browns able to pull it off after all the off the field issues with one of their top receivers who's no longer with the organization? How Baker Mayfield and crew got ready for this contest and took it to one of their division foes. First, I got to tell you about DirecTV Stream. It's how you can get all your TV together in one place. It's a simple way to do that. You can take all the on-demand favorites you like, mix it with your live TV. So if you're watching the Browns game, you can flip between that and what's on demand. Your favorite TV shows, movies. Best part, there's no annual contract. Stop waiting to get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more, directtv.com. That's directtv.com. The Locked On NFL podcast marches on here. Bo Brock, your Monday host. I'm joined by Jeff Lloyd of Locked On Browns. He joins us to break down one of the biggest surprises of Sunday. That was the Cleveland Browns just beating division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals, 41-16. It was a dominating performance by the defense, but also the offense showed up. Jeff, how are the Browns able to pull this off with everything going on off the field with Odell Beckham Jr.? Do they just do better in the face of adversity? It seems to be the case.
We talked about this a little bit on the last couple of shows we did this week, whether it was the pregame show, and then, we went and did a special edition show Friday when, the official news was that they were going to move on from Odell. You go back to the Steelers playoff game last year, Coach Stefanski out, Joel Bitonio out. And it seemed like, this team really rallied around and everybody is on the same page. And that was kind of like the calling card we had for this week. When the chips are down, when you think you have, an organization, whether it's the front office, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the roster itself, where everybody is kind of with each other, you believe that they can maneuver through these tough times. And this is basically the case today. They went in there and look, they've had, a nice run against Cincinnati. Granted, this current Bengal roster is a lot better than it has been in the last couple of years. But, when the chips are down, are you going to man up or are you going to run away? And this was a really difficult week for them. And this could have been maybe at 4-5, the end of the Browns 2021 season. This AFC North is stacked. Everybody can play week in, week out. They all give their best efforts. They all play well. They needed this, and they had to have it. So regardless of the fact that there was some dissension within the ranks this week, the most important thing was going into Cincinnati getting a W, and they got that done.
Yeah, they certainly did. Big plays were kind of the name of the game for Cleveland all along the way. They had the big 100-yard interception return from Denzel Ward, picking off Joe Burrow and taking him to the house. And then you had a big run, 60-plus yard rush from Nick Chubb, and then the big pass play. I think I saw, was one of the first teams or one of the few teams to have that length. Can this Browns team win without the big play this season?
I think they can. This is not really a team that gets, the big play. The running game, sure. Obviously, when you're one of the best running games in the, in all of the NFL, you were capable of getting that. The pass play was, that was a new one. But look, Donovan Peoples-Jones, he showed well, really, really well last year. He showed really well. He was the best Browns wide receiver through training camp, through everything this summer. So it was interesting to see him finally get this opportunity. And with all that went down the last couple of days, it was more of the Browns maybe saying, hey, let's gamble on the future of Baker and Donovan Peoples-Jones as opposed to a present relationship of Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield that is not working by any means whatsoever. And they finally got it. They finally got it together. They played crisp. They played concise, both ends of the ball, and it was all in unison. The running game, the O-line, they all worked in unison. Defensively, the pass rush led to making plays for the secondary. It's not familiar Browns-wise to have everything go in phase. But when the chips were down this week, obviously, and just the way everything worked out, everybody kind of went to another level, and everything kind of said, you do this, we do that. You do this, we do that. And this is the way good teams operate. And for the first 8 weeks, it wasn't the norm for the way the Browns currently are constructed this year. But you saw it today, and you didn't really see much of Baker Mayfield kind of grabbing that left shoulder. And, everything was clear, concise. He hit his step. He found his guys. He got rid of the ball. Just a great, great day. And, with New England next week off of 3 straight wins, they got to go ahead and find a way to get this one as well. You can't go win, loss, but they put it together. They're working hard. Everything's in cohesion. You have a roster full of a whole bunch of guys between 28 to 22 years old, all close in age, all kind of get each other, all kind of appreciate the work ethic everybody's putting out. It's what you're striving for here right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long road ahead of them, but they're here where they are.
Long way to go. Absolutely. Jeff Lloyd, Locked On Browns. Check out his episode of Locked On Browns today, wherever you find podcasts, at Jeff LJ Lloyd on Twitter. I just feel like one last thing before we get out of here. I mean, I think that it's so much talent in that defensive secondary. A lot of youngsters. Greg Newsome even made some big plays today, along with Denzel Ward. And then you've got that defensive line. If they can overcome the penalties that they seem to get flagged up for often, this is one of the best defenses in the NFL, I got to think.
They are very, very fast. Look, you got 5 sacks today. So if you get 5 sacks, you're going to get penalties for hitting the quarterback. The one on Sheldon Day, I want an explanation. I really do, because, I mean, he was wrapped around the waist and kind of like teddy bear hugged him to the ground. But the Jadeveon Clowney one that wasn't called, which led to, the little brouhaha on the sidelines. Jordan Elliott got a 15-yard penalty.
Clowney just needs to line up on sides.
Yes, he does. And the NFL needs to call holding on Myles Garrett. There's so much craziness in what is called and what is not called. But the Browns defensive line, this is the key. This is the calling card right now. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was their best linebacker. They haven't had him for a while. Denzel Ward stepped up today. Obviously, Greg Newsome stepped up. Greedy Williams leaving with a shoulder is definitely a concern, because this kept him out all the 2020 season. But there's a whole bunch of young guys. They're all fast. They all play hard. They all play intelligent. And they're going to need to get better. They are, because regardless, whatever the best version of Baker Mayfield is this year, there's going to be hitches. There's going to be, some not there moments. He's injured. It's a torn labrum. There's a broken bone there. He's giving you everything he can, which means you understand there's going to be deficiencies, which means you need some more perfections, and everybody else stepping up and doing 110% in some other aspects to compensate for the fact that he's playing injured. Granted, the Cincinnati Bengals, it's 2 weeks in a row now where it's kind of been disappointing on their front. We'll see how it works out for them. And the Browns, it's going to have to go. But, I mean, you still got Baltimore twice, and that's going to come down to everything, to what defines this Browns 2021 season.